So we just finished the topic on how to try to subdue the vasanas, purify them first. It'll be easy to destroy them once they are purified. And we have seen that in detail. Now, the next topic is total vigilance, its price. Total vigilance, we are warned on the Vedantic path to be very vigilant of our mind. What do we have to be vigilant of? Because it is the mind that makes us fall from our path. And that's what we have to watch out for. And Bhagwan has given 9 verses. So let us start one by one. Drishyam pratitam pravilapayan sanmatramananda ghanam vibhavayan samahita san bahirantaram va kalam naetha sati karma bandhe. Causing the perceived universe, both external and internal, to vanish, and meditating upon the reality, the bliss embodied, one should pass one's time watchfully for any residual prarabdha. So when it is said residual prarabdha, what we are talking about is a videha mukta purusha. Because for a jivan mukta purusha, there is really no residual prarabdha I'm sorry. There is no vasanas remaining. Prarabdha is there. Prarabdha of the body is there for everybody. Even the Videha Mukta Purusha, as long as the body is alive, the prarabdha of the body continues. But this residual prarabdha is more of a warning for Videha Mukta Purusha than a Jivan Mukta Purusha, because Jivan Mukta, where his vasanas have completely been annihilated, there is absolutely no residual vasanas, the body, as though it doesn't exist for a Jivan, it is there, but as though in his mind it is not there. So no matter what happens to the body, there is no effect of that on the mind. And to give you an example, we see in Swami Taponji Maharaj's life when he had malaria. And for 44 days, his body was shivering. You know how malaria is, you shiver, you get the cold chills, and then you go hot and cold and hot and cold. And he never went to the doctor. He never went for treatment. He never went for anything, because he was of the firm conviction that it is the prarabdha of the body. And if the body is going to live, it will live. It will live through malaria. It will live through anything if the body is going to live. We must not try this, because we are not disidentified from the body yet. So please do not try any of these things. These are only meant for the realized masters. But anyway, here what he's saying is, the Videha Mukta, that's why when they get a glimpse of the reality, and we see that in the life of Raman Maharshi, he's the best example. He, at 16, he got a glimpse of the reality. He was at home. He withdrew from all his matter equipments, and he realized that, matter doesn't matter, because I'm eternal. That's what he realized. Body doesn't matter. Pranas don't matter. Hunger doesn't matter. Thirst doesn't matter. I don't need an education. I don't need a job. I am that blissful self. So what he did was he just left home and went away. As you know his life, Raman Maharshi, he just went to just basically, all he did was meditate on the reality. So this is a warning, because what happens is, when there is some sort of residual prarabdha, there is a residual prarabdha of the body, and the person is not extremely well established, that the body's prarabdha can pull him out. That's why this warning is there. There is actually a story of a Mahatma who was living in a cave, and he was spending his time meditating. Now what happened was, one day he realized that there was some sort of rat running around the cave, which was disturbing, because that rat was going whatever, choo 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 or whatever, and he was getting disturbed. So when some of his devotees came to meet him, he just mentioned to them that this is what's happening. And the devotees said, you should keep a cat. Then the cat will eat the rat. So he said, oh yeah, that seems like a good idea. So they brought him a cat. Now the cat did eat the rat, but the problem arose, like the cat has to be fed. So the devotee said, I think you should keep a cow because the cat needs milk. So came the cow, and then the cat was fed. But then the cow had to be fed. So they said, you need hay, and then somebody has to feed the cow. So they said, maybe now you should get married because you need a wife to look after that cow. This is how you will fall. We are fallen only. We are never nowhere there. That is not a point. But a person, even a person who is high up there, this is how that body will pull him down. Therefore, what Bhagwan, this is a warning. What Bhagwan is saying is that don't let the mind get into these external things. Even for us, that is why control of the senses is considered as the most important sadhanas that control the sense organs, because they will, Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, Bhagwan says they will take you like a sailboat without the sails, like the wind will carry the boat into the ocean. That way the sense organs will carry you outside. Okay, so for an ignorant person, or for us who are just starting on the spiritual path, that is a great danger. But Bhagwan is saying, even for those who have got a glimpse, they have got a glimpse, but there is this prarabdha remaining, and that can pull them down. So they should be very alert. That's why this total vigilance. They should be extremely alert in maintaining the meditation on the self and not get disturbed by anything external. Okay, this is what it is. And prarabdha, there are three karmas, as we know: sanchita, prarabdha, and agami. Upon realization, sanchita and agami get destroyed, but prarabdha doesn't get destroyed. Prarabdha is extremely strong. Knowledge cannot destroy prarabdha karma. And that's why there is no escape from prarabdha. Prarabdha karma can only be exhausted by experiencing. That is what is happening with us. See, what is happening is this body, every body has a prarabdha. Now that because of that prarabdha, things are coming. Sukha is coming, and only two. Basically, there'll be joy, there'll be sorrow. Two things are coming as a prarabdha of the body. What is happening is we are identifying with those things, joys and sorrows, and we are giving rise to more vasanas by that. Okay, so prarabdha has to be exhausted. So when sukha comes, you accept. When dukkha comes, also you accept. That is how you have to exhaust, and you remain unaffected. That is how this prarabdha karma, one by one, you have to exhaust till the body is alive. The prarabdha will continue. And if you can realize within that time, then you don't have to worry about sanchita and agami karmas. This is how it is. Okay. Pramado brahmanishthayam na kartavya kadachana pramado mrutyurityaha bhagavan brahmana sutaha. One should never neglect one's steady attunement with Brahman. Bhagwan Sanat Kumara, the creator's own son, has called inadvertence death itself. This death is not a physical death, but pramada is inadvertence. So if you fall from that meditation, Bhagwan Sanat Kumar, the four Manas Putras of Brahmaji, they themselves, and I think Gurudev has given where exactly they said it, in the Sanat Sujata Samvada, the conversation, there's a little note on the next page. So that's where the Sanat Kumaras have said that one who has gained a glimpse must hold on to that. How do you hold on to that? Maximum time to be spent. This is now sannyas ashrama. This is not even vanaprastha, this is sannyas. So in sannyas ashrama, that meditation should be held on to. That attunement with Brahman, which has happened as a glimpse, you must develop it. You must practice more and more. You must firmly abide in that more and more and more. And the more you abide in that, there will be less distractions from the world. So I've underlined one line in the last paragraph. Living in the forgetfulness of one's own divinity is spiritual death. That's what death is meant here. Death is not physical death, but spiritually you're going to fall. When you fall, that is what is referred to here as death. So Bhagavan is saying, not only that I am saying it, but Sanat Kumaras have also said it. That's why we also have to be very vigilant. In our spiritual path, we should be very vigilant. That's why we have to always watch our mind, our own mind. Now, there is a warning. Na pramadan arthonyaha jnanina swaswarupatah tato mohas tato hamdihi tato bandhas tato vyatha. No greater danger is there for the man of wisdom than carelessness about his own real nature. From this comes delusion, thence egoism. This is followed by bondage and then by misery. This is referring to the Videha Mukta Purusha, like I told you. It doesn't apply to the Jivan Mukta Purusha. And like I told you, the story of the Mahatma. So Videha Mukti comes when they get a glimpse of Brahman, when they get this Tattva Jnana, what is technically known as Tattva Jnana, knowledge of the self. And knowledge of the self is not an objective knowledge like we have, like, oh, Brahman is this and that, etc. But their own self-realization has happened, but abidance has not yet happened. Because at one moment, self-realization happens in their practice. If you go as per Patanjali's Ashtanga Yoga, you know, they've done Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pratyahara, Pranayama, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. So they reach that Samadhi where the mind is completely attuned with Brahman, but they lose it. They come out of it. So the way to not come out of it is to try and practice staying in there for longer and longer times. What pulls them out of that is the prarabdha of the body. That is what the residual prarabdha is meant. So when a seeker, when he gets that glimpse, he will remain in samadhi for a while. Then the prarabdha of his body will tell him that I'm hungry. See, hunger is also prarabdha of the body. Or disease is also prarabdha. Or he might get some headache. Because that body's prarabdha is there. And that prarabdha will bring him out of samadhi. So what this person does, the one who, like Raman Maharshi, so what they do is, okay, I'm hungry now, I need to sleep. I will come out and I will rest for a while. I will eat. I will go back into samadhi. So then they go back into there. And then they increase the time. You know, increase the time. So the next step is, the disciples wake him up and bring him out as they get more and more established in that samadhi. This is how it goes. This is how it, and then there are 3 more stages after that. And the Turiya state, which is considered as the 8th one in the mind, this thing, when they reach that, like those who have taken samadhi, Santanyaneshwar, they reach there, they never come out of it. And they say, that's it. Now we are going into samadhi, we are not going to come out of it. Okay? So they will go and the body, they will leave the body and they will go away. Go away in the sense, not go away, but merge with the totality. So here, what he's saying is, for those who have just got that Tattva Jnana, they've just got it, they have to be extremely careful. So if they divert from that path of samadhi, they should go more and more and more in there, or constantly be in that thought. So we see in the case of Swami Vivekananda or Gurudev, after they got their realization, all they talked about was the reality. They never talked anything else. So that is also Correct. Like they can do that because constantly they're talking Bhagavad Gita, constantly they're talking Upanishad, or constantly they're talking about the reality. So not even a single moment should be wasted. This is what is being said. It's a warning because from this comes delusion, right? Wrong thinking. They were thinking correct that they are Brahman, but now when they become careless with that thought, then delusion will come. Delusion is incorrect thinking. And then egoism, ego will come. And then bondage. And bondage is misery. Okay, misery in the form of, again, birth and death. Delusion gives birth to the concept I am, which is ego. All right? Okay. Vishayabhimukham drishtva vidmausamapi vismritihi vikshepayati dhi doshaihi yoshajaramiva priyam. Finding even a wise man hankering after the sense objects, forgetfulness torments him through the evil propensities of the intellect, as a woman torments her doting paramour. Okay, so the example here, I have a little note. See, Sita ji is given as an example, the Jiva. So Sita ji represents Jiva. In this Ram, Lakshman and Sita ji, Ram is Tattva-jnana, is the highest reality. Sita represents Jiva and Lakshman represents Vairagya. Okay, so Jiva, and therefore we see Sita ji found in the field. Which child comes out of the field? We have never seen a baby born. Therefore, why? It's an illusion. Vedantic significance of that, Janak Raja finding Sita ji in the field, when he was in the field, he found her. Isn't that right? She was not born of his wife or anything. She was there. She just came out of the earth. Who comes out of the earth or falls from the sky? They don't. So it's an illusion. So that's Jiva is an illusion. That is what is true. Therefore, she represents Jiva. Now, there is no problem Jiva being illusion as long as the Jiva's attention is on the Parabrahman. So as long as her attention was on Sri Ram, there was no problem. 12 years they lived in the forest, there was absolutely no problem because she never deviated from Sri Ram. Her mind, not even for a single moment, deviated from Sri Ram. And there was no problem. Then one day came the golden deer. Which deer is golden? That also is Maya. And that is the world for us. So what happens is this Jiva, who was in complete attunement with Parabrahman, with Brahman, now gets distracted by the world, by Maya. Because deer is never golden. Right there, she should have known how it will be golden. But this is Maya. That is Maya. And Jiva gets distracted. And she got distracted. Then what happened? All the calamity happened. Right? She said, I want that deer. He tried to tell her that it can't be. It is false. Then the deer ran. Then he ran. Then that deer shouted. Marich it was, no? It was a demon. So he screamed, hey Ram or something, hey Lakshman or something, he screamed. Then she doubted that. Then she doubted Lakshman. See how Maya catches hold of you? You'll just all complete wrong thinking. She doubted Lakshman's this thing. Then he drew the Lakshman Rekha. Then what happened? We all know. Okay. So this is why wise man hankering after sense. That's why this is a warning. Like even if he has gotten that bliss, if he inadvertently forgets that, he will get caught up in this mire of Maya. So don't do that. For torments him through the evil propensities. The Sita ji story is absolutely what happened to her. She became so agitated, right? She wanted that golden deer that she made her husband run after that. So this is what we do then. We get attracted by the sense objects and then we run after them. And there's only misery out there. There's nothing else. But we don't realize that. We think, no, 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 there's happiness. I'll get happiness out of that. That's what's happening here. All right. Yatha pakrishtam shaivalam kshanamatram na tishtati avrunoti tatha maya pradnyam vapi parang mukham. As moss, even if removed, does not stay away for a moment, but closes up to cover the water again, so also maya or nascence covers even a wise man if he ever gets extrovert. So Bhagavan is giving an example. I think in India, we have all seen the lake. When there is a lake, then there's this green moss, which covers the clear water. And you can separate the moss, and then you separate and you get a glimpse of the water, but the moss immediately comes back to its original state, and then it covers the water again. So this is what example is given. Like that moss, this nascence, Maya is extremely powerful. Maya is nascence. Maya is ignorance. Okay, avidya. At our level, it is called as avidya, because it makes us forget. Even sometimes we may remember, but immediately it will cover our wisdom, like the moss covers the water. That's why I always tell you that morning, evening, day, night, afternoon, we must bring the Lord, Adhyatma Nitya. That is what this practice is, that you bring the Lord in every interaction in your life. So no matter what happens, if good happens, thank you, Lord. If something bad comes, okay, now you gave me this, please give me the strength to bear this. That faith, that's the practice that at our level we should have, because we are not into samadhi. At least I am not. I shouldn't say we. I am not into meditation and into samadhi and getting up this bliss. So at my level, samadhi for me is just remembering the Lord at this level. So when you bring him into your life, into your mind, at every step, like I told you, even you make a grocery list, you just write Om on top. You make it some other thing you're writing, write Om on top. Finish. Very, very simple it is. Because this Maya is so strong, that's why chapter 7, Bhagavan himself said, Mama Maya Durataya, my Maya is very strong. It is extremely hard to cross over, and you cannot cross over unless you surrender to me, because it is my Maya. So if you want to cross over Maya, then you need to surrender to me. Okay? And at our stage, just remembering him, if we can practice that, consider it as good enough at this stage. Okay? So this is Avrunoti Tatha Maya. Like the moss covers the water, this Maya, Avrunoti, covers Pradnyam, our intellect, and deludes us into thinking, into wrong thinking. Delusion, understand delusion to be wrong thinking. So whenever you think the world is real, whenever you think the world is going to give me happiness, whenever you think I'm the body, it is incorrect thinking. It is delusion. All right. Lakshyachyutam chedyadi chittamishad bahirmukham sannipate tatastaha pramadata prachuta kandukaha sopana pangtau patito yatha tatha. If the mind ever so slightly strays from the ideal and becomes outgoing, then it goes down and down just like a ball inadvertently dropped on a flight of stairs, bounces down from one step to another. Anybody remembers verses from the Bhagavad Gita? Chapter 2, verse 62-63. Dhyayato vishayan punsaha. Dhyayato. When the mind goes out to the sense objects and dhyayato, meditates on them, what happens? Like a ball, it's going to go down. So you meditate on the sense object, gives you desire, creates a desire in the mind. That desire, when not fulfilled, gives anger. If it is fulfilled, it will give greed. Both are the same. Both lead to delusion. Greed also leads to delusion. Getting also is a problem. That more intense the desire, more happiness will be with getting it. There will be more greed. I did this much and I got this much. Now I'll do even more and I will get more. There is greed. Otherwise, there is anger. Anger leads to delusion. Delusion leads to loss of memory. I told you even when I explained that. It's loss of memory, meaning you have the knowledge. It is not like we don't know. We know, but we forget in that delusion. This is what Bhagavan is saying. And in that loss of memory, there is destruction of the intellect. So if ever slightly strays from the ideal is remembering Brahman and becomes outgoing. This is what will happen. It'll fall. You'll fall. It goes down and down only. There is no coming up. That's a ladder of fall. That's why it is called ladder of fall. And the ladder of rise, Bhagavan Shankaracharya has given Bhajo Govindam is satsangatve nisangatvam. So satsang is the antidote for that. And what is satsang is to listen to this over and over and over again. That's what Bhagavan is telling us again and again. Be vigilant, be vigilant. Mind the mind. Mind the mind. Mind your mind. Okay? So then other things will not matter. It's mind over matter. If you don't mind, it won't matter. So mind your mind. We are minding other people's minds. We shouldn't do that. We shouldn't do that. Look at your own mind. Then it will be this. This is what he's saying. Okay. Vishayeshwa. He's actually explaining that in the next one. Vishayeshwa vishaschetaha sankalpayati tadgunan samyak sankalpanat kamaha kamat punsa pravartanam. When the mind enters the sense objects, it reflects upon their qualities. From mature reflection arises desire. After desiring, a man sets about to gain that thing and thus fulfill his desire. Dhyayato vishayan punsa. This is what he said. From mature reflection, it keep thinking of that object, and then the desire goes, desire increases. When the mind purifies and the mind matures, this is how you will know if you're spiritually evolved. So you see a thing and you like it, and you want to buy it, and then what you do is, you want to buy it, but you say, you know what, I'm going to leave it and I'll come in a couple of days, and then you go home. And if there is a certain amount of dispassion in the mind, slowly the mind will tell you, you know what, I don't think it's really worth it. It's not worth the price. I don't think it looks so good on me, clothes wise, and it'll do what is known as pratipaksha bhavana. Pratipaksha bhavana is to see the negative in that thing. And if there is vairagya, if there is dispassion, these type of thoughts will come. And until there'll be a point when that object will get dissolved from your mind. You won't even remember that object. But if you leave it and the mind has not attained that much of dispassion, you'll go on thinking about it. Oh, I should have bought it. Maybe I'll go run there tomorrow. Maybe I'll buy it. Maybe this. And this is how this meditation starts happening then. And the mind is now become extroverted, and instead of meditating on Brahman, it is meditating on the sense objects. Okay, this is what samyak sankalpana. Samyak sankalpa, samyak kalpana, kalpana imagination, samyak fanciful. Okay, so fanciful imagination is a superimposition of happiness on something which does not have happiness. That is fanciful. It is what is an imagination? It is not real. You just imagine. So fanciful imagination, that's why sankalpa, that is what it's called. What you're doing is there is no happiness in the object, but you are imagining happiness in that object, which is not there. And that sankalpa leads to desire. There's a dialogue of Yudhishthir in Mahabharata where he says, "O desire, I know your root. I know your cause. Your cause is sankalpa. So from now on, I will not do sankalpa at all." So desire will not arise. If I do not imagine that there is happiness in that object, will I ever want it? If I think, that it's going to give me sorrow, do you think I will go after that object? So sankalpa is very, very important. We need to watch out for that sankalpa. And if we know, see, now we are studying these texts, right? We have, first of all, you have to have faith. Huh? When I say, or when the masters are saying, I'm not saying that there is no happiness in the object. That statement you have to have faith in, because if you think what she's telling, of course I'll be happy when I get it. So then you have to reevaluate all your experiences. That in the past, I got so many objects which I thought they gave me happiness. Am I feeling same happiness that I got for a thing 5 years ago or 1 year ago, or even a month ago, even a week ago? Sometimes you buy and then you're like, okay, fine, whatever. Right? So it has to be your own conviction that there is no happiness there. Then you will avoid that sankalpa. When sankalpa is avoided, fanciful imagination is avoided, desire is less likely to come. Okay? Tataswarupa vibhranshaha vibhrashtastu patatyadaha patitasya vinanasham punarnaroha ikshate sankalpam varjayet tasmat sarvanarthasya karanam apathyani hi vastuni vyadhigrasto yathotsrajet. Through inadvertence, a man may deviate from his real nature. The man who has thus deviated falls. The fallen comes to ruin and is rarely seen to rise again. Therefore, just as the eatables prohibited by the doctor are not taken by the victim of the disease, one should totally give up the habit of reflecting upon the sense objects. Underline that. Which is the root cause for all the mischief. Reflecting upon the sense object, not buying the sense object, not taking the sense object. That's why that is sankalpa. Reflecting, you're just in the mind only, you're thinking, that's it. Only thought, nothing is there. Object is not there. Nothing is there. Sankalpa, this is what he said, this, just that thought is to be renounced. And thought you can renounce by many ways. Try to distract your mind by something else. This is what he said. So just as when the doctor prohibits you, like if you have diabetes, then don't eat sweet, don't eat salt for blood pressure, whatever oil, whatever that we are supposed to avoid. It says don't take it at all. That way, this reflection only you stop. The second paragraph in this, I have underlined the whole paragraph. In order not to fall, renounce idle thinking of the world of objects. What is being told is don't think only, forget buying and going ahead. Refuse to entertain them. Refuse to. Contemplating upon the objects of pleasure is the cause for all sorrows and tragedies in life. Contemplating only is a sorrow. Not buying, not getting it. It's not physical, nothing, only mind. Okay? And for all difficulties and faults in sadhana, renounce, reject, and refuse all the idle ramblings of the mind. Cry halt to the wandering mind. Cry halt to the wandering mind. So it's only in the mind. That's why I've always told you, Vedanta is a shift in vision. It is nothing. And you can buy, but make sure your mind is calm. It's okay. I mean, we need things and we buy. That's this thing. But that's why sankalpa becomes the root cause. Sankalpa is the root cause. If I didn't think there was any happiness in that object, there's no way that I'm going after that object. Okay? Ata pramadan parosti mrutyuhu vivekino brahma vidas samadhau samahita siddhimupaiti samyaka samahitatma bhavasavadhanaha. Therefore, Atah is therefore, to the discriminating knower of Brahman, there is no greater death than inadvertence to meditation. But the man who meditates regularly attains complete success. Therefore, carefully meditate upon Brahman in your mind. We are not even at this stage. That's why I'm telling you, replace that word meditate with remember. At least remember God, not even Brahman. Your Ishta Devata or Ishvara or God or Devi Mata, whatever that you want to call, even that remember, because even that much you don't remember. So at our stage, because this thing is, Bhagavan is talking about a Videha Mukta Purusha, remember that. This person has got Tattva Jnana. Okay, so how would we relate this teaching to ourselves? Because we need to relate it to ourselves. So for us, we are not expecting you to meditate and be in Samadhi. Some of you are working also here, but you can remember, na? Is that simple enough in your mind? That's why we have traditionally, Indian families will take a bath, shower in the morning and light a lamp in front of our altar, right? Minimum. So that what we are doing by lighting that lamp is we are inviting God into our life for that day. Oh Lord, I'm beginning my day. That's why it said, first thing in the morning we would do that. I'm beginning my day. I invite you to be with me through this journey today. That's simple. This is what so the forgetfulness is what is this thing. Now in here, and this underlining I've done way back because it's in a different color. And on the next page, the last verse on the next page after this, I'm not sure, it's page 392 in my book, but I don't know what it would be. So just before the next next subsection begins, forgetfulness is death because it immediately breeds imaginations and they bring forth desires. Desires give birth to activity. Activity precipitates more and more vasanas, which bring more and more thoughts. More the thoughts, more is the activity. In order to exhaust the newfound vasanas, a fresh body has to be taken up. Thus, the individual falls into the whirling wheel of births and deaths. Indeed, other than forgetfulness, there is no death. Did you find the verse? The paragraph, yeah. So this is what. So at our level, forgetfulness, at least let's try and remember. Are there any questions? Anybody wants to ask or say anything? Everybody okay? Okay, and there's no ambiguity in understanding, right? Main thing is this sankalpa. So remember that word, samyak kalpana. Kalpana, imagination, right? That you have to have faith.
Jayaji, question here. We are supposed to do at our level to do our karmas. Looking after families, getting this, that's for family. But on the other hand, in that process we forget the God, that is true. But how can we do the two together?
That's just now, that's what I said. You get up in the morning and you light a lamp in front of the altar and then say, Bhagwan, now you come with me through the day. How difficult is that?
No, that's not difficult, but that's only for a few minutes or so.
No. We are saying, Bhagwan, come with me throughout the day. And remember that Bhagwan is with you every minute of the way.
Bhagwan is with me or with everybody all the time, but unless we remember him all the time.
Do that, you start with that.
Okay.
You start with that practice. Then also I told you, if you're making a list, you start putting Om on top, or if going ahead, anything that happens, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. I could do the cooking. Because honestly, I'll tell you, you might start the cooking, but you may not be able to complete it.
Yes.
Right? So if you've completed any task, If you go somewhere, you go grocery shopping, as simple as grocery shopping, every single day, same route, same this thing. You go, you come back, you say, thank you, Lord, I came back safely, because 100 things could have happened in the way. How difficult is that? That's it. If you say, thank you, Lord, you remembered him. You remembered him. You know, so it's not difficult at all. There is a Marathi bhajan, and it goes like this: Hari bola deta, Hari bola gheta, Hari bolata bhandata, Hari bolta kandata. Means while giving, you say Hari. Hari bola, bola is to say. So say Hari while giving, say Hari while taking, say Hari while eating, say Hari while, you're pounding the rice, because it's old. So pounding the rice. Say Hari, like in our modern thing, say Hari while driving, say Hari while starting the car. All Swamijis, they sit in they'll say Hara Hara Mahadev or Shri Ram, Jai Ram, anything. We can also do that. You sit in your car to drive, you say, Bhagwan, help me. Right? So in one, there is Hari bolta bhandata is while fighting, you say Hari. So one lady asked me many years ago, we were in we still have the bhajan group. Anyway, she said, how you can say Hari while fighting? I said, are you not breathing? Yeah. You forget to breathe. Do you forget to breathe? Whether you're fighting or you're doing whatever? No. Then why not hurry? Should be in your breath. It is said that when Arjun slept and the breath was saying Krishna, 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 Krishna. That's what's said for Arjun. So imagine how attuned he was with Bhagwan, that he would breathe and that in the sleep. That's what is said. We cannot do that, but we don't know. We are snoring probably. But we can always, so never say that, how I can do. The other way, karma, converting into karma yoga, you're remembering the Lord because it is sacrifice there. You're doing it for a higher altar. You've remembered the Lord. Okay. Simple. Bhakti, Ishta Devata only you're seeing everywhere. Bhakta is delivered. Right? So it is not difficult. But you have to practice. Once you practice, now it comes automatically.
Sometimes you do it out of fear, sometimes out of sadness, but not necessarily like love.
In happiness, nah. If you know what, even God is so compassionate. What Bhagwan says is that even in your sorrow, if you come to me, I'm happy because you didn't go dogward. Either you go dogward, you go into drugs and alcohol when you're sorrowful, or you go Godward. So that also Bhagwan is that compassionate. He said, it doesn't matter. So I'll tell you a story. So Hanumanji was on his travels one day and he saw this guy in the toilet. He was sitting on the toilet and he was very happy, relieved. So he said, hey Ram, and he was sitting on the toilet and Hanumanji got really mad that, what is this? He's taking name of my Lord so he hit him on the head and he went off. And then he went to Vaikuntha and then he saw Sri Ram there, not Vaikuntha, Vishnu's, where, Saket Lok is Ram, Sri Ram's. So he went to Saket Lok and Sri Ram was there and Sri Ram had a bump on his head, forehead. So Hanumanji said, Bhagwan, how you got a bump on your head? So Bhagwan said, yeah, because you hit my devotee. That devotee, what devotee? Is he sitting on the toilet? He took your name. He said, no, it doesn't matter. He took my name. It doesn't matter where he was. His mind was with me. And you hit him. And when you hit my devotees, then I have to take it, he said. So, there is no way that you can say that I can't. Even in sorrow, then you remember. Then in happiness also, you will remember. Practice, 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 practice. Okay?
Thank you.
All right. In the one, no plurality. This is the next section. जीवतो यस्य कैवल्यं विदेहे स च केवलः यत्किञ्चित् पश्यतो भेदं भूयं ब्रूते यजुश्रुतिः. He who is completely aloof, even while living, is alone really aloof after the dissolution of the body. So one who is completely aloof while living, he's aloof after the body. The Yajurveda declares that there is fear for one who sees even the least bit of distinction. And here we had talked about fear in chapter 16. I told you fear arises out of otherness. Remember I told you that? So here it is, the third paragraph, fear is always born of the recognition of the other. You are never afraid of yourself. So when you see that difference, then there will be fear. But if you see the oneness, then there will not. Oh, what happened? Did my screen go blank? It didn't? Oh, okay. It went for me, but that's okay. So as long as you're recognizing this bheda is distinction, that I am separate and you are separate. Because when you are considering the plurality to be real, that means you're identified with your body. Because when I am this body, then only this is me, and anything outside of this body is something different. And this is what he's saying, that Yajurveda also declares that there will be fear, but if we see the oneness, somehow if we can change our mindset to see, I'm a human, this person is a human. I've given this example before. If I say I'm a Maharashtrian, a Marathi, I have already separated myself from all the other Indians, Punjabis, Gujaratis, South Indians, whatever. Then I can say I'm an Indian. So I immediately identify with all of the Indians, people from India. But then I have separated myself from Canadians, from Americans, from Europeans. So I say I'm a human being. When I say I'm a human being, I have identified with all the humans in the universe, but I'm still separate from the animals and the plants. So I come to the stage, I am a jiva. When you say you are jiva and you're not body, then there is oneness in all, because the jiva is formless. Mamai eva ansha jiva. My ansha is jiva. So everybody's jiva is an ansha of him. Whether it is an insect, a worm, a lizard, a elephant, human, plant, all jivas are a part of him. It is not just human jivas are a part of me and other jivas are not. So when you consider yourself to be the jiva, then there is more oneness. As this oneness increases, and the one who self-realizes, so realizes himself to be Brahman, is identified with the entire universe, what fear will he have? We see this fearlessness in Tapon Maharaj. He used to roam alone, wander alone in the Himalayas. He would be scared to death. People are scared to go from here to there, in the city itself. So he would wander, and then once the thieves came and they wanted to steal from him, and he said, I have nothing except this shirt. If you want, I'll give you this shirt. Then the thief only felt bad for him. He said, have you eaten? He said, no. He said, okay, I've got one roti. We'll just share, you and me, and we'll eat. He said, okay, fine. We'll eat. So they ate. This is true, huh? I'm not telling story. This is true in his life. So that fearlessness will come when we reach Brahman, but we are not at that stage. So at least let's try to think of ourselves as jiva. Minimum. Body, though we should not, huh, Baba? Please, after so many classes, don't think yourself as the body. Okay? So when you, as long as you keep on thinking of yourself as the body and different, there will be fear. There should, okay? This is now, yada kadavapi vipashchidesha brahmanyante pyanumatra bhedam pashyat tathamushya bhayam tadaiva yadvikshitam bhinnataya pramadat. Whenever the wise man recognizes even the least difference in the infinite Brahman at once, that which he sees as different through mistake becomes a source of fear to him. So same idea is repeated. Bhagwan is repeating. Try not to see try to see the oneness. Try to see the oneness in all of us, and that will reduce fear. Fear, every time we think it's something different from us, we will be fearful. Shruti smriti nyaya shatair nishidhe drishe trayasvatmamatim karoti upaiti dukkho paridukha jatam nishidha karta samalim lulo nishidha karta samalim lucho yatha. He who identifies himself with the objective universe, which has been denied by hundreds of shrutis, smritis, and reasonings, suffers one misery after another like a thief, for he indulges in something forbidden. So, smriti, we have talked about this. Shruti is Vedanta, is Vedas. Shruti is not man-made, and smriti is man-made. Written by Manu. There are many smritis. Manusmriti is the most famous. So Bhagwan is telling us that both Shruti and Smriti are declaring the same thing, that this universe, the more you identify with the universe means what? Means you think it is real. That's it. As long as we go on thinking, see, for the transactional world, we must know that I have to behave in a particular way. Okay, please understand that also, because we cannot. But in your mind, you should know that if suppose something happens, even this too shall pass, because it is not really real that it is going to just stay there. That you examine your own, see, reasoning is there. The word reasoning is there, logic. So examine your own experiences. I've told you many times. Previously, there must be something in everybody's life which made you extremely happy at that point. There will be something in your life which made you extremely sorrowful at that point. And now you evaluate those two today. And can we really say that I am still extremely happy like I was that day? Or I'm extremely sorrowful, sad as I was that day? That is the criteria. That's your own experience now. You yourself think, in my life, what happened when I was extremely happy? Something happened, I was extremely sad. Now, how do I feel about those incidents? So when in the present something like that happens, you will know that after 10 years or 5 years or 2 years or 1 month, after some time, I will not have that intensity that I feel today. And with that knowledge, you go through that sorrow or that happiness. With the knowledge, this is not going to last. That's why one of the important sayings in Vedanta is, even this too shall pass. There's a story about that too. So there was a young man who left his father, and he went overseas. This is a long time backstory, when they would travel by ship. There was no planes and all that. So he went overseas to get to earn money, like we came here to earn money that way. While leaving his dad gave him a ring. And he said, son, this ring is for you, you wear it. So okay, fine, no problem, you wore it. So he went and he earned a lot of money. He got a lot of ships, and he became very rich. And he was going to get engaged now the next day. Suddenly he got the news that all his ships had been sunk. They got sunk. So, which means all his wealth had gone. And he was suddenly so depressed that he thought of committing suicide. He said, you know what, my life is now, I worked so hard, I earned so much wealth, and now in one day, one night, all my fleet of ships has sunk, and now I have got nothing. So he was pondering suicide, committing suicide. And then suddenly his hand went to the ring. He thought, oh, this is the ring that my dad gave me. He remembers. So he takes out the ring, and then he's looking at the ring, and inside he sees some words. He says, oh, there's something encrypted on the inside of the ring. And he looks closely, and there it is said, even this too shall pass. That is the message his dad had written inside the ring. So when he reads that, he says, yeah, exactly. I came, I had nothing. I earned so much wealth. So having nothing passed, I earned wealth, and now the wealth is gone, and this will pass too. I can, if as long as I am there, I can build it again. My empire I can build again. Why should I commit suicide? So this point is to be kept in mind. And that way you must know that the universe is changing and therefore mithya, false. It is not there. It is there. It is experienced, but it is not here to stay. Means the world will stay, but your experiences will go on changing. Okay? And by identifying with the universe, you are indulging in something forbidden. It's illusory. We'll stop here today.